This is the Analysing Anfield podcast on the Blood Red channel, bringing you the best tactical and statistical analysis of Liverpool FC.
Hello everybody and welcome to this week's episode of Analysing Anfield. This week, mixing up a little bit by going live on YouTube. So hey with us, thanks for joining us. If you're tuning in later on, sounds that'll do as well. I'm joined by Steve McManaman. David Hughes' wig still growing. How are you getting on, mate?
I'd take the curls, to be honest, because it brings off a few of the inches. But yeah, except for that, mate, all right. I haven't got the headband in this week, so I'm trying to fix it up every week. But it's getting tougher, especially with no barbers until July. I don't know what I'm going to look like in 6 to 7 weeks, but see how we go.
Yeah. You change your Twitter handle to the big guy with the locks.
If it gets to that length, I won't lie. This was the first week where I was like, I don't know. I'm not sure that I can do a few more weeks of this. But it doesn't look too bad. It's fun to shape a little bit. So if I have a few more days like that, then I'll be all right. But yeah, we'll move on, because I'm not sure people care that much about my.
Listen, they should. This has become an important part of this series.
It has.
I obviously restarted last week. On the 3 all over. So
went back to basics.
Back to basics. Yeah. So today's episode, anyway, we're going to have a look at, just a general chat, I suppose, about how Liverpool's front three, obviously Salah, Mane, Firmino, where they sit in Europe in terms of the great front threes that we've seen in the past 10 years. So we're just going to have a chat about that, and we're going to go into, obviously, the football we can go into a minute that's actually happening. So we're going to talk about the Bundesliga, preview it a little bit, maybe in with Liverpool angle, I suppose. So which team is the most Liverpool like? Which team should you be supporting? Certain players to look out for that maybe drifting under the radar and that sort of thing. But we're going to take advantage of the fact that football is coming back. Sadly not in the Premier League, but it's close enough in Germany. So Liverpool's front three. Don't know where to start on this one, to be honest. General thoughts on Liverpool's front three, Dave?
They are good. No, I understand what you mean. It's, if you listen to the show, obviously we touch on them every single week, don't we? So, it's a really interesting conversation, I think, in terms of where do they rank alongside the elite over the last 10 years or so in Europe, because I think, as we'll probably start discussing now, there's certainly a case to put them up there, and they'd probably be pushing for that number one spot as well. If you look at just how they performed, the balance across the front three, and how it's been happening in such a successful side as well. There's definitely a case to make that they've been one of the best. Yeah,
I mean, I'll list a few of the trios that came to mind for me when we were sort of planning the episode. So Messi, Suarez, Neymar, Ronaldo, Benzema, Bale, Aguero, Sterling, Sane, Neymar, Cavani, Mbappe, and Robin, Ribery, and Lewandowski. So absolutely ridiculous lineups there. And if I'm being totally honest with you, I think that strictly in terms of individuals, I'm not even sure if Liverpool's will be in the top three. But we will get to why Liverpool still matter to compete, and why Liverpool's front three is still right up there. But I think in terms of each player individually, I'm not sure I'd have Liverpool's front three, competing with, say, for example, the Barca and Madrid trios.
Yeah. Well, of course, because we're talking about these players in their absolute prime as well. So if you think about an obvious one like Ronaldo, you kind of see Ronaldo was still an elite goal scorer, but obviously finally he's got to the stage where he's probably on his way down now career-wise. But what we're talking about is kind of Ronaldo at his peak at Real Madrid, alongside Benzema and Bale, which is just a ridiculous trio. So yeah, you'd think Ronaldo's probably as individuals as better. Messi, of course, and then the names you've just listed off there. There's a good case for a fair few of them to say whether Liverpool try and break into like any of the kind of top three of that group. It's tough, despite them being really, obviously fantastic players.
Yeah, I think what it is for Liverpool, it's for me at least, it's how they work as a unit. It's not just a case of putting three ridiculous players in a team. It's the dynamic that they pose. I think if you was to put the three on the pitch, almost without any coaching to an extent, it would still just naturally work because of Firmino's natural tendency to come towards the field. Salah's natural tendency to run in behind from the right using his left foot, and exactly the same on the right. But Mane, on the left, sorry, but Mane using his right foot. I think it's just a dynamic that works perfectly. And the whole Klopp thing of like, everyone as a team, everyone defending, everyone attacking sort of thing. It just works. And I think if you look at, say, for example, the Barca front three, I don't think it's really that. I think Messi was just kind of like an all-around do everything sort of vibe. Mind you, Messi was left-footed, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think what I'd use probably is maybe the best example of what you're trying to say there is potentially the Neymar, Cavani, Mbappe trio.
Yeah,
because obviously they're all fantastic and it is a lethal front three. For me, the difference between, say, them and Liverpool's is they're very much an attacking unit with little focus on much else. Whereas, as you were just touching on there, obviously Liverpool that front three is just as strong without the ball. They press really well. They work in cohesion with the side. I think back, the best example I can think of that is, do you remember the game at Old Trafford last season, Champions League, PSG? And Neymar and Cavani was missing, I think. I know they had some big injuries, but I thought they were fantastic with just Mbappe up there. And the team dynamics just seemed to work so much better with other players coming in and adding more balance. But when it's that front three, I think they're really good in attack, but they don't have that same balance. And it might explain why they haven't really achieved anything of note in the Champions League. So I think they're probably the kind of counter to the point you're trying to make.
Yeah, but I think this is the point whenever people talk about front threes and that and comparing them and stuff. It's really easy to look at a front three like that and say they are better players than Liverpool's front three, for example. But for me, you have to consider the dynamic. You have to consider how each player works for each other player. And as I said, just kind of the dynamic that they pose with both Liverpool wide players cutting inside and Firmino dropping off. All three have got massive physical capacity as well. They never get injured. The amount of appearances they've made, I haven't actually got the numbers on that, but I saw some mad tweet a while back about like the amount of appearances Salah's made compared to Neymar or something like that, and it was like the gap was massive. I think these are often factors that aren't really considered when they're doing these player comparisons and team comparisons.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Something that I feel like me and you've spoke a lot about on this show, and I think others are starting to speak about it now, but it's something that was definitely overlooked for a long time, that consistency in terms of being on the pitch is how you have such a big impact. And you do look at Neymar, and if you were looking to buy Neymar, I always think that this should just be this cloud over the department with such a high amount, with no guarantee of him being there week in, week out. I know you can't control every injury. Sometimes you're just unlucky, but I do think there's elements to it that kind of comes with being a really great player. I think Liverpool, just that front three, do possess that. Even when like Mane was picked up a couple knocks this season, but it doesn't seem to keep him out long. It's like he's always there or thereabouts and getting back in the side, and it is huge.
Yeah, I mean, if we was looking at individuals, then, which I've just thought as well, actually, the dynamic I've just been mentioning about like a right-footed player on the left, a left-footed player on the right. and then a centre forward who kind of drops off or plays for them.
Mm.
Real Madrid is another one. You got Benzema through the middle, Bale left-footed, Ronaldo right-footed, which again is ridiculous, absolutely crazy.
You know what? Funny enough, Josh, of the kind of the group of names that you mentioned, beyond like obviously the Barca front three, they're the ones that kind of honed in on being such a good trio that maybe sometimes get overlooked a little bit, because certainly when Mesut Ozil moved to Arsenal, Benzema kind of gave him a new lease of life in terms of dropping into that like number 10 area, and they do remind me a lot of this Liverpool front three. You know, not in terms of like the specifics of profiles of the players, but as you touched on there, just how they work. The only difference is, I'd be interested to see what you think on this. Actually, I think like Benzema plays like a Firmino role, but do you think Benzema also has the better finishing abilities than him, or am I just being a little bit harsh?
No, I do think I agree. I think he's slightly different in terms of, I do think Firmino is a natural, probably number 10, if I'm honest. Whereas I think Benzema's just a complete forward. And that's one thing I was going to touch on. If you look at the number 9s for each team that I've mentioned there, you've got Luis Suarez, Benzema, Sergio Aguero, Edson Cavani, and Robert Lewandowski. Each one of those, you know, just complete all-rounders, able to do chance creation, but able to also find a net themselves with, you know, almost 50-50 if you want to do it that way. I think Benzema sacrificed quite a bit of his output when Ronaldo was there to just basically for the team. I think Benzema's generally absolute top player that doesn't really get the credit that he deserves. I think there was a point actually during Ronaldo's time at Real Madrid. I'll get the year up now, but I think Ronaldo averaged something like 6.95 shots per 90 in La Liga the year before he left for Juventus, and that just wouldn't be possible if Benzema was a bit greedier, basically.
Yeah, like his facilitator, basically. I mean, that's a crazy number. I remember when we were blown away on this show talking about Suarez, and I will be talking about him again in a bit, but at Liverpool, like the 5+ shots, but you know that 6 points, whatever it was ridiculous, really. What was it, 6.9 for Ronaldo?
6.95, yeah.
Yeah, they're crazy numbers. You know, some teams struggle to do that.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. I think Salah's numbers is, well, nowhere near that. But the fact that he had Firmino there supplying him with these chances is one of the reasons why. I'm getting off here because our producer has left his mic on.
Yeah, it's so sorry for anyone listening. It's so distracting that he's just talking away in the background there.
Safe to say he's not facilitating us, is he?
Yeah. He's not going to be making half run three, is he? Let's be honest. But yeah, we'll try and push through it anyway.
Yeah. So individually, if you're looking at players individually, which front three are you taking there? If you know what I mean.
Yeah, are we mishmashing? Are we kind of mixing them together, or are we just kind of picking of the three that we've named? Who would we have?
Of the three that we've named, I'd go for, yeah. But I'm not particularly focused here on which players left-footed or, you know, the dynamic and stuff. I'm just thinking as a trio of names almost.
That's such a hard question, you know, Josh, because I feel like I think it might be a little bit easier, maybe for me personally, to eliminate kind of teams that teams. Yeah, you throw me right off there. Yeah, we're okay now. Yeah, so I think it's really difficult to kind of pick one, but trios maybe I'd eliminate would be Sterling, Sané, Aguero, not because I don't rate them, but the point that we were just talking about then about, you know, in terms of consistency playing together, you know, injuries, rotations have all played a huge part in terms of them not really playing together as much as the others on the list. I think Neymar, Cavani, and Mbappe as well, even though they're really good attacking unit. I couldn't see Liverpool being as successful with them. That front three in their starting 11 over what they have now, because I just don't think they do enough off the ball.
Who's that? Aguero and...
No, sorry. So I was saying Aguero, Sterling, and Sane. I wouldn't have just through. I'm not sure how consistently they play together for different reasons. And I was saying Neymar, Cavani, and Mbappe. I wouldn't have either. Just because although the great talents, really good attacking unit, I think without the ball they don't do enough, and I think Liverpool wouldn't be as successful as they are now with that front three over what they have. I'm going on here, and I'm sitting on the fence without actually naming one. I'll probably go with that Ronaldo, Benzema, and Bale group, even over Messi, Suarez, and Neymar.
That would not be my pick, actually.
Go on.
I would go with Messi, Suarez, Neymar, personally, just because for me it's the best player who's ever played the game, alongside, as a Liverpool fan at least, what Suarez has done. It's unfortunate that he's played alongside Ronaldo and Messi, because I think he would have almost certainly had at least one Ballon d'Or by now. Just looked at his numbers before, didn't we? And in his second season at Barcelona, I must have overlooked it at the time. This is 2014, I think. Just getting it up now, but he scored 40 goals in La Liga only. That's 40 league goals. That's absolutely crazy. 2015-16 it was. We're actually going to debut the screen sharing thing for YouTube here. So see how this goes down. So there is Suarez's shot map for that season. Yeah, hopefully you can see that, Dave.
Yeah, we can see it, mate.
Yeah, just the sheer number of shots in and around the centre of the penalty box. Obviously benefiting from playing alongside Messi, but it's just absolutely daft. I think that season Suarez averaged 3.9 shots per 90, which is quite low compared to his Liverpool time, at least, isn't it? I mean, I know you mentioned Liverpool numbers a few episodes ago.
Yeah, you just wonder though, maybe that Messi aspect comes into it. Do you think, where it's a case of you kind of, well, we've actually talked about it when we're talking about Coutinho, haven't we, and his issues at Barcelona. You can only really have one kind of main man, free spirit, so to speak, at Barcelona. That's always going to be Messi because of how good he is. I just wonder if that means players like Suarez have to adjust their game and be the less selfish player that they could be, to kind of benefit him. Because that isn't a lot for them, really.
Well, it's interesting because that season Messi took 5.2 shots per game, which is obviously a lot, but he only scored 26 in La Liga. So a lot more shots than Suarez, but scored about 14 fewer goals, which is quite weird. I don't know if Suarez over his XG. I'll double check that now. He overperformed his expected goals by about 4 goals. Yeah. Still, interesting little one there, but and I think in addition to that, I personally think Neymar's a ridiculous player. I think he's unbelievable, personally.
I do like Neymar. I just I don't know what it is with him. I think I don't know. It just feels like he doesn't really have a consistent season. There always just seems to be reasons why he's not playing. And
no, I would agree there. Yeah, I think availability has to come with, and consistently performing at the very top of the game over the course of several years and winning trophies and stuff like that. And he has done that to an extent, but I know what you mean in terms of injuries and off the field issues and big transfer news and all that sort of stuff. But I do think that when he's on the pitch, I've not seen players do what he does. Unbelievable player, I think. And I think if he was to have played around the era of Ronaldinho and Zidane, I think he'd be talked about now as one of the absolute best ever.
Yeah.
I think back then numbers came into it less, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was a lot of everything was quantified with the eyes, pretty much. Beyond goals and assists, it was very much what you're seeing, which would suit some players better than others. Just quickly, Josh, feel like we're kind of not really. We haven't really spoke about one trio that definitely deserve a mention, in my opinion, and that's Robin, Ribery, and Lewandowski. I love Lewandowski. Like, I just think he is the ultimate centre forward. We're talking about players there, but for me, he's the ultimate centre forward. I think maybe the only issue that trio had is, I don't know if you'll agree, is maybe they just didn't really come. They just weren't at the same ages when they were playing together. You think of Liverpool's, they're all the same age, aren't they? But
yeah, definitely. I think Robin and Ribery managed to be a little bit parallel, but I think Lewandowski, I think his prime has been made. Well, he's had a ridiculous career. I mean, you can't really pick out the prime, but I think right now he seems to be ridiculous at the minute. His numbers right now this season are right up there. And I think last year he had a good year as well. So, and that's coincided with Robin and Ribery, leaving Munich. So I think it would have been really interesting to see all them at the same age. And I think that's when Liverpool have obviously got right. I think Salah, Mane and Firmino are all the same age, or there's maybe a few months in it. I think maybe Firmino was a couple of months older or something like that. One of them is. But
they'd all be in the same year in school, mate.
Yeah.
That's always a good gauge, I think.
Yeah. But I think, me saying Suarez, Messi and Neymar, that's no knock on any of the others, and I completely understand why you, for example, would mention Ronaldo, Benzema and Bale.
Yeah, I think on another day, I could have answered the Barcelona front three. I think it is that tight. But yeah, just now, just for kind of, I think about Benzema, Ronaldo, Bale, who I think, he's similar as he's a Neymar to some extent with the injuries and things, but I think he's really been overlooked how good he's been for them. That goal, obviously it's a sickener to bring it up on the show. That goal he scored against Liverpool in the Champions League final was just insane. It's probably better than that one that people still show every week. It was Zidane's against Leverkusen, wasn't it, in the early 2000s? It was probably better than that. It was just a really good player who I think kind of gets overlooked a little bit and hasn't been treated that well over there. But yeah, that's who I'd probably go for at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, there's some ridiculous front threes out there. I think in terms of Ronaldo, Benzema and Bale, I will say that I think they've got the physical edge over certainly the Barcelona trio. Obviously they've got the height, they've got the speed. And I think it'd be interesting from like the perspective of a defender or a defensive team or whatever, to ask, who would you rather play 90 minutes against? Who would you feel more comfortable defending against? Because as I said, I think the Real Madrid trio have got the speed and things like that, but the Barcelona trio have just got, they'll just basically make you look stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe we haven't spent enough time speaking about Liverpool here, but I think if we were to focus on the dynamic and how each player works for each other, and specifically how well suited the trio is to the brand of football that the manager's trying to impose, I think Liverpool have got to be right up there. Looking at the way Klopp attacks, the kind of like it's not perfect football, is it? It's not like Guardiola football. It's quite rough around the edges, and if you look at Salah, Firmino, and Mane, they are a little bit like that, aren't they? They're kind of like rough diamonds and that, and they'll give the ball away quite a bit. They'll also score a lot and create a lot, and that sort of vibe.
Yeah, I think the big thing that people always got is unpredictability. I think that front three epitomise that. Mane will just he'll look as if he's going one way, then he'll go the other. Salah's a fantastic dribbler. I think of Firmino, the stuff that he pulls off sometimes in terms of turns, tricks, no-look passes. It's really hard, I think, as a defending side to say. You can say, Liverpool are going to focus on building attacks from the wing backs and they're going to be aiming to get the balls to these three. You can do that, but I don't think you can honestly look at Liverpool's front line or Liverpool in general really and be like, this is exactly what they're going to do in this game against us today. because it's just so unpredictable. And I think those three just epitomise that. You know, the way they interchange as well, they're really difficult to track. If it's not working one way, they'll swap sides. You know, if they're breaking on the counter, they won't automatically go back to the original positions. They might swap sides, come through the middle. It's just really hard to track, and I think that's something that they do really, really well.
Yeah, I think what you've just said there, the best way I can probably describe that is that all of these front threes that we've got down here, I think Liverpool's is the only real front three in terms of a trio that, you know, if you take one of them out, it's just not the same sort of thing. Liverpool's trio are firmly a group of three players rather than being a group of three individuals sort of thing, which is, I think, the case in most of these other teams.
I mean, like they're collective rather than three great players.
Yeah, they are literally a unit, a front three as one, you know, entity almost. Whereas I think each other team there, each other player, they're almost too, I don't want to say too good, but just too individualistic to form an entity as Liverpool's front three have.
Yeah, they don't possess the same kind of balance throughout. It's just, you know, putting three elite players in the forward positions because that's where they play, and then that's a front three. Whereas this one does kind of form something a little bit more solid. I'd say a little bit more balanced. Just a really good combination.
Yeah. I think we'll leave it there unless you've got anything to add on the front threes before we move on to the Bundesliga.
I just wonder whether we were too kind on reflection now, putting Aguero, Sterling and Sane in when you think of the company they're in. Or am I being harsh? I don't know. I've got nothing against them. I really like them, but
no, I think on paper they do look quite ridiculous. That's why I put them down, I suppose. But I'm not sure how often they've actually played together as a trio on the pitch, because it doesn't feel like that much.
No,
it feels like one season maybe. But you know, Sane's been injured, and I think there was a period where Guardiola, for whatever reason, seems to go off Sane in favour of Bernardo Silva.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think as a front three, there was a period where they were getting compared to Liverpool's, and you know, that I had to include. In fact, one other front three I meant to put down, but I'm not sure whether he made, you know, post 2010, was Ronaldo, Rooney and Tevez. Didn't actually put that down, but I suppose they're close to Liverpool's front three in terms of being really fluid and kind of operating as a unit.
Yeah. I'd like to look back on that trio a little bit more, because I think back to how I was watching football then, and it was kind of it was very much just, you know, the average fan, and I'd love to watch that back now a lot more and kind of see how they combined, you know, just the mechanics of that front three, because obviously United were a really, really good side then, and Ronaldo was Ronaldo, Tevez was up there, and it was just it would have been interesting actually to look back on that side to see just how good they were.
Yeah, I think certainly in Rooney and Tevez, you've got two, I suppose, what you could label as workhorse types, despite playing up front. And I think Ronaldo was generally given a bit more of a Salah type role that Klopp gives Salah, in terms of he gets a little bit more of a license, I think, to stay up and get the goals sort of thing. But yeah, I think Liverpool is certainly right up there overall compared to all of those teams.
Do you give them top spots just out of curiosity, or do you just think Barcelona mitigate edge them?
It really just depends. It just depends.
It's hard, isn't it? It's so hard. It's hard to answer that.
As one entity, I'd struggle to put any front three above them, just because of how it's almost telepathic sometimes, the way they do things and that sort of thing. But as a group of individuals, I couldn't put them top. But I want to move away from that and focus on the dynamic for obvious reasons.
Yeah, it sounds.
So Bundesliga then.
Yeah, Bundesliga. Good to have it back. I am. You know, I've actually been watching some Belarus football over the weekends, last couple of weeks.
I saw that tweet and thought to myself, I wish I was that cool.
I took some stick for that, to be honest. But yeah, no, I've been watching it, and I mean, it's hardly it's the scratch, put it that way. But I'm really looking forward to the Bundesliga coming back because it's a really interesting league, and it isn't one that you get to watch a ton because, well, there's only so much football you can watch on the weekend, and it's played, normally at the same time as the English game, and obviously in our roles we kind of watch every game available Premier League wise, so it'll be good to just kind of focus on a lot more of these games this weekend, and I'm really looking forward to it. Are you?
Yeah. I think, to be honest, if you was to say to me that you can't watch the English league, I probably would pick Germany as my second favourite, just because of the stylistic nature of Spain and Italy. I suppose France to an extent as well. I think the Bundesliga is probably the closest in comparison to.
Yeah.
I think it's no shock that plenty of coaches end up going to the Bundesliga, and rather than moving to Spain, they always seem to come to England. I think the direct nature of the play, maintain counter attacking and that, rather than possession, slow football and that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I've been watching a couple of games actually just over the last few weeks from the Bundesliga. I've been wanting to watch like Leipzig a little bit more and stuff. Just really to see beyond like the goal highlights and the chance creation, just to actually watch how they play, because we'll often be writing about it. And I think it's just good to kind of know the intricacies a little bit more. And one thing that's really stood out in that division, I know it's renowned for it anyway, but even compared to the Premier League, is the pace. It just felt like it's so, it's like high octane. It's from side to side a lot of the times. Admittedly, I wasn't watching, say, Bayern Munich, so I don't know if when they play, they just kind of dominate in the same way Liverpool and City do. And according to the numbers, they do. So maybe those games are a little bit different. But I was watching like teams like Schalke and Wolfsburg and stuff, and the games were just end to end pretty crazy. So I'm looking forward to watching a few more this weekend.
Yeah, I think when Guardiola moved there to take over Bayern, I think he famously said that like one thing that really hit him when he moved over there was how good the Bundesliga teams were at counter attacking. That was something that he had to work on over there, and I think that's where the whole inverted fullbacks with Philip Lahm tucking in and things like that stem from just the fear of counter attacks over there.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think it's another thing as well that's worth mentioning, which we will get to, is the amount of the talent over there. The talent in that league. You've got so many players who could just easily slot to a Champions League winning team, and they wouldn't really look out of place. But they seem like maybe one or two, occasionally three in each Bundesliga club. See what I mean? Apart from Bayern, maybe. But I think Leverkusen and Leipzig and Dortmund, they've all got players that the elite clubs would love to poach, but they can't just take them all at once.
Yeah, you're right. Funny enough, actually, I don't know if people watching have got the BT Sport app, but they've obviously honing in a lot on the Bundesliga content at the moment, and they've been doing some classic matches. I watched one yesterday. It was I think it was Leverkusen and Hamburg. It's probably still on there now if people want to go and watch it afterwards. But Son was playing. He's only 21, and he was insane.
We were in with him during that time.
See, I don't remember those links with the Liverpool link with him.
He was quite a prominent link. It was around the time that Rodgers was in charge, I think. But we just, for whatever reason, never bid for him. And he ended up going to Spurs. But when Spurs got him, I remember thinking to myself, I'd like to see how this kid does. And obviously, he's progressed onto something that's really good. But Liverpool had tracked him for quite a while. I remember a piece a few months ago, Melissa Reddy piece, and she said that it was on Liverpool's recruitment or something like that. And it said that Liverpool really like Marcus Rashford and Son Heung-min, but for obvious reasons, the unattainable sort of thing. But I think Liverpool have been aware of Son and have got scouting reports on Son since then days comfortably.
Well, he would have been. I mean, they've done all right without him, let's be honest. But he would have been a really good purchase, and he looked fantastic in that game. He was really, really good. I think he scored a hat trick, and that might have been against his old club as well. But yeah, he was really good. He was only 21 there. Just going back to the point you were originally making, it is a real hotbed. And it also, I think Red Bull, Leipzig obviously or RB Leipzig, I should say, have a big reason for this. But it seems to have a lot of obviously players jumping from Austria into the German Bundesliga as well, won't they?
Yeah.
Which is
A lot
it's
of
interesting.
coaches, well, coaches tend to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, someone I've actually mentioned, they will come on to in a bit. Yeah, sorry, our producers just messaged us. Any mad stats team in the Bundesliga? I think we'll probably come on to that a little bit actually.
Yeah, well,
from Cook 1645.
yeah, we should probably say at that point, with this being a live pod, if you're watching now and you've got any questions, I suppose throw them in the comment section, and we'll try and answer them live. Put Dave on the spot.
Yeah, only the easy one, please, everyone.
But yeah, one of the things I did put down was obviously with the Premier League not starting. In fact, have you got a reply to that, or do you want to move on and then reply to it gradually?
Yeah, no, I think we'll come on to it.
Yeah, because the question I was going to mention then was for Liverpool supporters, wanting to find a favourite German team in the meantime. Who would you say is the most Liverpool-like team in the Bundesliga at the minute?
So I've kind of answered this in two ways, because I think my first answer is really boring. So I apologise, but there's not much I can do. I think right now, as things are, you can't look past Bayern Munich, just in terms of how they, top of the division, they dominate the ball, dominate the press numbers. There's a big focus on building from wing back positions. They've got elite wide players. I think that there's just a lot of similarities there. But as I said, it was a little bit boring, so I've kind of flagged Wolfsburg as a side that maybe Liverpool fans could enjoy watching. Yeah, they've got Oliver Glasner there. He's come from Austria, ironically, which I should have used as a perfect little segue earlier. But he brought, is it Lask? Is it Lask Linz, or is it LASK?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I've got
But they come up from second division with him in charge and turned them into title contenders. They play a 3 up top formation. Although theirs often has 3 at the back instead, so it's like a 3-4-3. But wing backs play a huge part, and they're like a pressing machine. They're just they're really interesting side. They started really well. They're still there or thereabouts in terms of pushing for Europe. I think they're 7th at the moment, but they could be an interesting team to watch.
Yeah, I think it's worth probably noting that we did alternative Klopp managers the other week, didn't we? And I think the two we both suggested, without knowing what each other suggested, I think they were both Bundesliga coaches.
Yeah.
I think for anyone who wants to gain any insight in who may replace Klopp eventually when it happens, I personally, I think Marco Rose might be the heir to Klopp. So if you're interested in knowing a bit about him, Borussia Mönchengladbach is the team to follow. But I think there's a variety out there. I agree with what you're saying in terms of Bayern. Maybe it's because I'm a Liverpool fan, but I don't feel Liverpool are the strongest team in the country. It feels like we're the underdogs, especially considering the financial wealth of City. It feels like City are the Bayern, to be honest. But I agree in terms of like Bayern have got threats all over the pitch. They've got particularly fullbacks who are really attacking focused. And they've obviously got fast wide players in Gnabry and who's the other? They're getting Sane, obviously they're getting Sane, aren't they?
Yeah, which would just be City. I don't know what the intricacy of that deal is, but if I was City, I'd be gutted at losing Sane, because I think he's fantastic.
I know. I will mention as well on that I think Gnabry is right-footed, and I know Sane is left-footed. And if you keep Lewandowski for a few more years, that would provide the foundation to do a bit of a Liverpool type front three, where he cuts inside and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'll just flagging Josh that Kay Brennan said, I'm looking forward to watching Dortmund. I want to see all this hype about Sancho, see if it's true. He's barely seen him play. It is true. He's unbelievable. Ironically, they're playing Schalke, and I think it's the pick of the games on Saturday, which is a derby for them. So that's a perfect game, I think, to watch him.
Yeah, David Wagner over there as well. in charge of that match, I think.
Yeah, Klopp's best mate.
Yeah, but he's an interesting little attacker, Sancho. Just on that. One thing I've been looking at lately, those who follow me on Twitter will know, is touches. I've been focusing on judging player per touch, and Sancho doesn't tend to show up that highly in most of the metrics, but that's because he touches the ball an awful lot for a forward in particular. So whereas every touch of Timo Werner's might be goal focused, Sancho touches the ball a lot in just general build-up play, and he'll play off 5-yard passes to his teammates. So not every touch is as dangerous as Lewandowski's or Werner's or someone like that. In fact, I'll use that now to just. In fact, no, I won't. I'll do that in a minute. But yeah, Sancho is obviously, I'm assuming, a player that a lot of Liverpool fans will be looking forward to see, especially considering he's linked with the club. But I think personally, I would expect Werner to be a bit more of a realistic move. So I'm looking forward to watching a bit more of Leipzig than usual.
Can I just say, just from a non like support or non Liverpool point of view, I think in terms of just wanting to watch a side, Leipzig will be my choice. Like, because I just think they're such an interesting side, and I think they've got so many good players as well. They're exciting team to watch. So yeah, from a personal point of view, they'll be who I'll tend to be watching the most.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say then about Bayern, the fact that Bayern have the stylistic makeup in terms of, fullbacks and the wingers and stuff like that. But I think in terms of principles of play, I would look at Leipzig to be very Liverpool focused in terms of pressing the ball and that. And Liverpool have obviously got a bit of a relationship now with Red Bull because of this. So I think Leipzig are a very similar team to Liverpool on the pitch, at least in terms of not being that focused on keeping the ball, being quite forward thinking whenever you've got the ball, attacking, taking risks and stuff like that. So I do think they're the team to look out for. And obviously they've got Julian Nagelsmann in charge, who we tipped a few weeks ago as a potential Klopp heir. So players then, considering where Houghton rises, this should be something we have a bit of knowledge on. So is there any players that you were looking forward to watching under the radar sort of thing? They don't necessarily have to be transfer links. They don't. I've named a few that are probably a bit too old to be linked with clubs, but they're just players that I'm just looking forward to seeing. So, do you want to start?
Yeah. So, with that, what you've just said in mind there, I think the player I'm looking forward to watching, just because we spoke about him on this show in January time, we did like a scouting piece where me and yourself, then we scouted players on data alone in terms of who they could potentially come to Liverpool and be successful. And one I flagged was Dani Olmo, who at the time was playing for Zagreb. I'm in a couple of weeks he ended up getting moved to Leipzig. I've really been keeping an eye on how he's been doing there, so I'll be interested to try and kind of keep an eye on that and see how he's doing. Another player that Leipzig we want to keep an eye on, just because he is someone who never really, although I have seen other people speak about him since, but I haven't really seen that much stand out in the data. But I'll kill the pronunciation, but people who regularly watch the show know that I'm hopeless with names. I can tell you score number 27, but names aren't that. It's Conrad Laimer, is it?
Conrad Laimer,
yeah.
Full Mason.
Honest. So yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's what we talk changing Twitter handles. That's what I'm going to change it to. But yeah, no, I think he looks a fantastic player. And I think he's still only about 21, but energetic, really good ball carrier. He seems to be able to do everything really well.
He played really well against Spurs a few weeks ago, actually.
Yeah, he did.
I think he came from Salzburg as well, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He come from Salzburg, you're right. Which is that kind of seeing that conveyor belt in full flow again. But yeah, he's someone I really want to, type of player that I want to watch rather than just look at the data. I actually want to watch him play and see what he does well, because I was watching the game through the week, and he played, and there was a moment where he kind of picked it up on the edge of his own box and carried it right into the final third. bounce past 3 or 4 players and then lays it off and is unlucky not to get the ball back. And I'm looking forward to maybe seeing a little bit more of that. So, I mean, there's 2 names that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I've got a few listed. So, but one that I'm going to start with is, this is something I wouldn't really advise, but this is a purely a data player. I have not watched this lad play, but considering this is just like players we're looking forward to seeing, it's just a name I thought I'd flag. But because I've been looking at the touches stuff lately, what a player does when he's on the ball, I've got no idea if this player is bad or not, to be honest. But he shows up quite often as a very threatening player, and his name is Florian Kainz.
I've seen that name come up, and yeah, I have. Is it spelled with an I? Is it?
K.
Oh no, I don't know if that is. I'm thinking of. Sorry.
Kainz. I think it was. Hang on, let me double check. Yeah, Kainz. Florian Kainz. He plays for Cologne. He's 27 years old, which is why he's maybe past like a move to Liverpool or whatever. But just give you an example of the kind of thing this, obviously, sorry for the people that are listening, but this comes with the YouTube benefits, I suppose. But just give you an example of the type of thing he shows up in, is that, oh, this is per touch. So what you're looking at there is the player at the top, which is Thomas Muller. He completes the most number of passes into the penalty box for every 100 touch of the ball that he takes, followed by Timo Werner, Leon Bailey, Kingsley Coman, obviously players we are well aware of, and then you've got Florian Kainz, and he's a midfielder for Cologne, but he just, in various little metrics like that, he seems to be showing up as an active player, like a threatening player. He seems to be, the kind of the vehicle through which Cologne attack. He seems to play a key part in bringing them towards the penalty box and things like that. And yeah, so he's a player that I'm quite intrigued to see whether he's good or not. Basically, so I suppose this is what data scouting can be about to an extent. You can use it to find certain little outliers that you want to then look into further. But with the Bundesliga starting on Saturday, I just thought, rather than watching a few clips of him, I'll see how he performs and see if he does any good.
Yeah, I think they've had an alright season as well by their standards, FC Cologne. I think they were kind of there or thereabouts. In fact, hold on. Yeah, no, I've got a little bit. Yeah, so the 10th, but they're still in with half a shot of like top 6. So yeah, one maybe to keep an eye out, and one that's not so obvious. Just because I assume people will be wanting to watch that Dortmund Schalke game of play that I kind of thought, again, someone I haven't watched, but there seems to be a bit of a buzz about is a defender called Ozan Kabak, defender for Schalke, Turkish. He's only like 19, but
I think I've heard about him. Has he been linked to the Premier League?
He could have been. I'm not too sure. I said there's been a buzz about him. What? Sorry.
I'm confident he has. What was his name again? I'll just search it and just see if the first link is a Premier League club.
So it's Ozan Kabak. That's Kabak. Yeah, I think he might only move to Schalke this season or fairly recent, but there's just a lot of buzz about him, and a lot of people comparing him to Soyuncu in some way. And I think Soyuncu's been fantastic for Leicester this year, so it'll be interesting maybe to just see if he's regularly playing, if he gets a game this weekend, if any of his kind of talents warrant the hype.
Yeah, I can't actually see a link with the Premier League club there, but it might have even been Leicester. I think I saw. Oh no, it wasn't. That was the Juventus centre back then. So I might as well add another one of mine. Then another player. People who have a bit of player knowledge will be aware of this lad, but Christopher Nkunku, I'm looking forward to seeing. Another player who's a key creative component for this team. Leipzig again, and he was signed from PSG in the summer, I think, for a cut price fee. PSG seem to let these kids go because of how much they spend on the likes of Neymar and players like that.
He was linked with the Premier League, wasn't he? I think Arsenal, was it? I know I wrote about him in January 19, I think it was. So I think it was Arsenal who was getting linked with us. You know what? Might have been Newcastle, which is ridiculous when you look back now.
Yeah. But he's played in a variety of formations this season because of how much Nagelman tends to switch things up. But predominantly plays in offensive midfield or on the left, and just again to get up a little visualization, just to capture what I'm talking about. Let's have a look. So if we was to use this, hopefully you can see that. And Nkunku was up here alongside Keynes. Basically players that appear over on this side, the top left, they're kind of the league's creators per touch. Whereas down here, you're looking at the league's most threatening scorers per touch, and those that are in the middle, such as Werner, do a little bit of both. But yeah, Kane's right up there, and Nkunku right up there, and considering Nkunku's the highest on the whole chart, on the whole graph, that suggests that he basically has the most creative output per touch. There's a variety of reasons behind that. But yeah, just players that generally are taking me interest and see if they almost pass the eye test, although I've seen Nkunku play a little bit more than I have Keynes.
Yeah. Just while you were talking, sorry mate, someone's asked, what do we think of Kingsley Coman at Bayern Munich, or Coman, whichever way you want to pronounce it. I think he's good, but injury prone, and that was from Cook 1645. What?
I'd say he's spot on.
Yeah, I was just about to say, yeah, he's pretty summed up. I think he's a fantastic player, but he misses a lot of games. I think he's missed easy, maybe 10 this season. League games, that is.
Yeah.
Which, when you think we've had a short season as well, that's maybe just under half.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I think the extent of his injuries, I think it's maybe even falling into buying Munich into buying him.
You did well there, mate. You did very well there.
I don't think Sané would maybe be as much of a priority if Coman was able to play as often as Salah was able to play, for example. But because he's in and out the side, a little bit unreliable. You know, Klopp got to the extent where he realised Sturridge was never going to be a pillar because he's not there enough. So you have to almost plan without them. So I think in an alternative reality where Coman is not injury prone, I think he's probably regarded as one of the best around. I think he's still quite young as well.
I haven't got anything up on him, but I don't think he is old.
He's 23.
23, yeah. No, he's not old.
Crazy.
One more. I want to add just because somebody asked me for help with a graphic, like a pressing graphic, not so long ago. I'm not gonna chance sharing it because I can't be bothered finding it. But Weghorst, Weghorst, is it? And Wolfsburg. Yeah, I've not watched him play. I haven't, but he's 27 and he's I think he's got the most final third pressures of any forward across Europe's top 5 leagues, which I think is quite interesting. Now that is only pressures; it's not successful balls won back, but obviously it's impacted by the fact he plays for Wolfsburg, who are quite aggressive in trying to win the ball back. But I thought that's interesting, and he's also scored 11 league goals, which is a decent tally as well. So I'd be interested just to kind of see how both of those entities translate to how he plays on the pitch. He's 27, so it's not really a player that we're looking out for the future here, but might just be a decent Bundesliga forward to watch.
Yeah. Another from myself is another player who shows up consistently in the numbers, regardless of whether you're using per 90 or per touch. Philip Kostic plays for Frankfurt. He might even be a fullback now in the modern game because I think he's getting on a bit. But he's a player who just does an awful lot for his team. I think Frankfurt sold Luka Jovic, Sebastian Haller, and Ante Rebic, their entire front three, in the summer. But they're still in and around about the same performance levels, and I think one of the key reasons behind that is Kostic, and the fact that he's been able to stay. I think he's crucial to aspects such as bringing his team towards the penalty box and into the final third, and I think he puts a lot of crosses into the box and stuff like that. But he might even be in his 30s, but he's just a player that
I don't think he's that old. Is it with a K? Is it Josh?
27 actually. Yeah, Philip. Yeah,
Serbian. 27. Yeah, so he's still an okay age. He's probably just in the midst of his prime now.
Yeah, but he's spent his career in Germany. I think. Yeah, he's been at Stuttgart, Hamburg, Frankfurt, and in and out of Frankfurt on loan and then permanently signed basically. But he's just a player that I'm a little bit surprised has never really been picked up and just moved to England sort of thing. So I'm intrigued to see how he does actually impact his team on the pitch, because he's clearly quite an important player for them.
Yeah, it's just going down a rabbit hole a little bit, but we do tend to do this. You mentioned his name then, Luka Jovic or Jovic, whichever. What would you do with him? Would if you were a Premier League team now, would you be tempted to make a move for him?
I think it depends. It depends on what type of striker you want, because I don't think he's the way we were talking before about complete forwards. I don't think he's that. I think he's very much a penalty box. I think he'd be great for a team like Leicester. I think he'd be
like
great
a poacher.
If he was to replace Jamie Vardy with Jovic, I think that would be a great move. He maybe won't offer as much in behind as Vardy does, but Vardy's literally only used to put the ball in the back of the net or
stay in the box.
Yeah, in fact, I think I can share another little thing on that actually. I think I've still, when I did the Premier League version of the Bundesliga graph that I've just shown. So let's have a look again.
Just for anyone who doesn't know, by the way, I think you heard it then. Josh was just saying he was obviously at Frankfurt, and last season he was only 21, and he was just a fantastic goal scorer, and he was like a massive talent, and he's moved to Madrid. It doesn't happen for him at all at Madrid for various reasons. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the story is. He hasn't looked that good there. He's picking up a few injuries and things, but he's still just 22. So I'm just trying to gauge whether it could see him in the Premier League at some point.
Yeah, I read that Zidane actually wanted to sell him in the first window.
Really? Yeah.
I don't know what's happened there. I know he's now out for a number of weeks because he's got injured in self-isolation.
Yeah, done the skiing, I think it was. Bruised heel or something.
Funny enough, Sebastian Haller hasn't really hit the ground running since moving to West Ham either.
No, that's a good point.
Anyway, just on this graphic that you can probably see here, as you can see Jamie Vardy in the top right-hand corner, and that just means that, doesn't mean he's the best player on the graphic, just means that per touch, he's probably the most threatening player in the league in terms of when he gets the ball, he's probably going to deliver some form of attack output, whether that be creation for others or whether that be taking a shot himself. He's literally in the team for Leicester to just finish moves, while James Maddison and Yuri Tillemans and players like that create the moves for him. So I think Jovic should be good in a team like that, but in a team like Real Madrid, you've maybe got to be a bit more of an all-rounder. I think maybe he gets compared to Benzema, and he looks like half the player, even though that's not really the case. He's just not suited to a role like that, maybe.
Yeah, which might explain why Zidane's so keen to sell him. Because if you're not looking for a player who's basically there to just score goals, if you need something more, then he's probably not the profile.
Yeah. A few other players that I just throw in there just before we round up. I mentioned Milot Rashica a few weeks ago when we were talking about. I can't remember what we were talking about at the time.
Yeah, it was about a month ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, he plays for Werder Bremen, who are probably going to get relegated, I think. And he looks too good for them. He scored plenty of goals, and he's actually linked with Leipzig, who I would assume wants him to replace Werner, because he's a similar type of player, quick, right-footed, I think. gets goals from out wide and stuff like that. So he's a player to look out for if you're watching Bremen. I just made a little note here. Thomas Muller seems to have turned into an absolute super creator out of nowhere. Yeah, he's just doing what I think Ozil was doing in his prime in terms of just setting up so many chances for other players. Marcus Thuram is another player I think is worth giving a little shout to. He will be playing for Marco Rose at Mönchengladbach. And another lad that we mentioned when we were doing the midfielders to replace, well, not to replace, but alternative types to Wijnaldum. I mentioned Dennis Zakaria, who also plays for Mönchengladbach, so I think he's worth looking at.
It feels like a lot of people have been talking about him since.
Yeah. Good player. Doesn't really have very many weaknesses. Like plays similarly to Wijnaldum, but maybe without the goals. But one downside that I have learned this past week is that he's very one-footed. Wasn't actually aware of that beforehand, but that's a trait that I'm not that keen on. But yeah, I think he favours. I can't even remember what foot he favours, but whatever it is, he doesn't like using the other.
But that's maybe some of that could be tactical. Don't know. Maybe if he go into a different side, it might be a little bit different. Hopefully.
Yeah, possibly. I think it's his right foot that he favours. But we'll round up there anyway. Hopefully, we've had an interesting discussion there on Liverpool's front three and on a little upcoming preview for an exciting Bundesliga weekend. Hopefully.
So it might end up saying to a Bundesliga podcast at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know which player played like a Liverpool player this week, and the same a week after.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you've been tuned in live, thanks. If you want us to keep doing this, let us know. Thanks for joining us, Dave.
Cheers, Josh. Cheers, everyone.
We will see you next week. Thanks.